so we say welcome again to another edition of the program, The Bottom Line, the program that brings information about Liberia, and we do discuss the issues. We give our analysis and views. We may not be right, but we are not wrong as well. And so let me say welcome to all of you. For those of you who do join us via Facebook and YouTube, as well as our Twitter page, we like to say welcome. Tonight, I have with me Kai Mark Farr, and he's from Sweden. And tonight we'll be discussing Fixer 2 comments. She's been doing some interviews in recent times, and so we'll be looking at some of the things that she's been saying and how can they benefit Liberians as well as the CPP. And we also have Paul the Lord Churupé. He's in the UK, in London specifically, in a place called Croydon. So he will be joining us later on. And my name is Linford Goer. I'm here in the Scandinavia in Norway. So let me say, Mark, welcome. Do you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Very good. And how was your midweek? You know, today is Friday, so the last time we were here was Tuesday, so it was Wednesday and then Thursday. How was it?
Wonderful. Just been working here. You know, in the Scandinavia, how it is. Everything is working.
I know, right? Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good.
Nice to see you guys and our listener.
Yeah. Thank God. And, you know, the good thing is that when we work, we got to play as well. So, you know, they say all work and no play makes Jack a double, right?
Jack a double, right?
Yeah, and when Jack play, he work too. He get lazy.
He get lazy, exactly.
Yeah, so we got to balance it.
What can puzzle me a little bit is that here in the West, sometimes we wake up 4 o'clock to go to work, right? 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock to go to work. And the people back home, for example, the man starting work 8 o'clock, then he coming to work 10 o'clock, right?
No, but you know, I will tell you a little fun, Mark. When they say Liberia man no time, but that day in Liberia, you know, they say
that crack can work.
When you take something for you can't find no more. So
no, you can't find no more.
Liberia man, they say, oh, Liberia man not no time, but let me tell you,
that's a lie.
My cousin on TV, and he was supposed to travel to the States.
Yeah,
the guy was supposed to go like tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. So the guy went like today evening.
Today.
Monday. He went Saturday evening to the airport.
He went Saturday evening to the airport. He went to fly.
Then slept at the airport the Saturday night. Then Sunday he stayed at the airport the whole day. He slept. Then Monday morning before he
big girl.
They never make sure you won't miss it because they say Liberia man no time. But at first.
No time, I think at first. I beg
you.
What happened to everyone? What happened to everyone here in the diaspora? But the funny part about it now, we'll go to work. We'll go to work, right? We'll go to because unlike this stuff with the, calling somebody white and the other person black. For me, I don't believe in that. I believe in somebody with the people from Africa. I prefer to be called them African, or if you know the person in origin, then you say, oh, a Liberian, like what the Swedish does most, the Scandinavian for that matter. Once they know your origin, they say, oh, this person from Sweden, so or the Liberian or the Somalian or the Nigerian, just like that. So the thing here is, we'll go to work here, even in the West on time, right? But if you just call meeting for your own people, but we turn it around again. If the Westerner call meeting, you see they will be to that meeting on time. But their own organization, if you call meeting for their own organization, this organization has almost about 200 people. But once you call meeting you barely get 25 people in that meeting. But let's turn it around again. Let it be, the people what we use the W word on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let it be they the one I call a meeting, my brother. You find all the bugger that coming from it. All
The B people be there. Eric.
For me, the B people, I can call them the bugger ball. All the bugger ball will come from the O and they will go to that meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, so but that's
So
how
that's the thing
Paul.
about,
Let's say
yeah,
welcome to you, Paul. Today
Mr.
is Friday,
Chili.
and the last time we were here was Tuesday. So we have Wednesday in between and Thursday in between yesterday, and today is Friday. How have you been doing, bro?
Well, the Lord has been doing well. It's good to be back here. I want to say good evening to you guys and good afternoon, good morning to those who will be following us from the other parts of the world. It's good to be back
Yeah.
here. I'm good. How you guys doing?
Well,
Yeah, we're doing great. Just how they call this? Next week. Should I announce it?
yeah, and now,
Next week we're going to be having an interesting figure on the show, Dr. Joel A. King, and he's into the economy part of the ANC. He's somebody that knows a lot, so he'll be coming on the show on Tuesday and to talk about the economic aspect of the ANC innovation and vision for Liberia. So they were at the show going to be based on, yeah, talking about what ANC economic plans and policies are, and how our human resource, is being damaged for the since the war and up to now. So ANC has a plan for the human resource capacity. For example, like the ones we refer to as ZOCOs, and those are human resource capacity. Human resource, yeah, for the country that have been destroyed. So ANC has a plan how best to have those people back and be rehabilitated and made a contribution to the country. Yeah, so that's an interesting person we're going to have on the show.
that sounds great. And we want to tell you thank you for making that contact.
And a week
Paul.
after, in a week, sorry, Brother Linford, in a week after that, the SB also will be appearing on the show. Thanks to our, dynamic chairman, Chairman Elas Munger. He and I, we've been talking here and there, and it has been, we just need to tell him the time we want to have the SB on. But I'm looking for next week, the week after, yeah, Dr. King's appearance, then the SB. So we have to give the SB enough time, you understand? So has a lot on his plate. We don't know his schedule. So we got to talk to, we have already talked to the chairman, yet need a date to be confirmed. Yeah. I just want to let you guys know and let our our audience know. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Paul, what's on your mind? What did you? I believe you've been doing some work. You've been working for this particular edition of the program today, Friday, this weekend edition. We are now on the air on Friday in Liberia, but we on the social media and we are covering Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. So, what's on your plate tonight for us?
Oh, what on my plate is actually will be fascinating. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just happy for uh Fixer 2, which I've been following lately, and I think what happened, she had brought something, some extra dimension to the CPP movement, and she has energized the base. It seems that she's going to overshadow the political leader of the institution. So yeah, she brought that, and she's somebody that is firing, energetic, and she come with that energy. So yeah, that's what on my mind, and also my beloved country, Mama Liberia, how October 2023 going to be like when that announcement come, who's going to be the next president, and what uh Liberia, whether we stay in the past or we will stay with the present or move to the future, people will determine that October 10th. So yes, and we pray for better Liberia and the future look bright. In the UK here, they have this telephone company called Orange, and they always come up with the acknowledgement that the future is bright, the future is orange. So I hope Liberia future is bright and it's orange.
Okay, hope Liberia future is bright and orange. But let's listen to this piece of music, and we'll be coming back to start our show officially.
So,
And for
so
those of
before you listen to the music, say I'm going to talk about facial two. Can we play facial two music, please?
but I think that's what I'm going to play.
Oh, okay, all
But I'm
right.
not sure whether that's it, but
So,
the okay, let me click it and see if it is not it. Just get it up.
AK on the beat.
Charlyne Brumskin, you mad,
AK on the beat.
Okay. That was a great one. That was a great one. Um, that was a great one. Sorry. I was enjoying the music. I was actually dancing beyond stage. That's why I was off camera. I don't want people laughing at my dancing. But Paul, that music, I don't know what you think about it, but I think it's a very nice music, and it suits the VSB. And it's just that maybe you don't understand basketball. I think Mark understood some of the words, and my ugly bastard, I think I follow it as well. So I think it's a very good music, and it suits the occasion.
yes. I may not understand. I mean, speak, but I think I understand Basa a little bit. Being a Grubble and Basa not too far from each other. Their words
Yeah,
are
that's
similar.
the core group.
Yeah, it's a choir group. So yeah, and the guy who made the music, he one of the gifted Liberian artists, Sonny
Yeah, so they got
Gadiabo.
dear boy.
He is really good. the music itself, you may not understand the language, but it's a music that will kick you from your feet to dance. So yes, it's a good music, and I think Mark would be able to interpret what the song say. But I think it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, gentlemen. For me, I believe that Sunday guy, he's the most talented Liberian now, and he's the best Liberian for me, because this is a guy who can make song out of a person, image. So, and the song has a lot. For example, he's talking about Charlyne. I mean, Charlyne has come and the bars of people, how they call it, own daughter, and you name it. But the song second move you like my dear brother Mr. Cllr said, you don't have to be a Bazolan to understand the song. Yeah, but it's a beautiful song. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
For those of you follow us, if you follow, Paul, you want to come in?
Yeah, let's play this song again and ask our viewer to share the show while this beautiful song is playing, and then we can ask them to share the show if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
AK
Go on.
AK on the beat.
Charlyne Brumskin, you mad at you.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed it. I don't know about the rest of you, but those of you who just following all this is the program, the bottom line. We're going to get into action now, and that was just an appetizer. You know, when you go to a good restaurant, while you're sitting down, when you order your food, they bring something to you called the appetizer, something that will arouse your appetite, something that will make you to get into the feeling of eating. And so that was just something to add flavor to the show. Tonight, I have with me Paul the Lord Tripley, and my far will be analyzing some of what Councillor Charlyne Brumskin, the vice tenor bearer pick of the CPP, has been saying to the Liberian people in recent interviews. And we'll be giving our own analysis on what we hear, all we hear in video, because we'll be playing video clips, and everybody will hear it, but we will just be giving our own analysis on it, how we feel, what we think about it. And so you can stick and stay with us. You can also call in at certain point or in time during the course of the program. So officially, let me say, guys, welcome, and please share the video to all of your contacts, those of you watching us. You also feel free to comment. If you can't call, you can ask your question in the comment section and we might read it. So, Paul, you've been listening to Councillor Charlyne Brumskin, the vice tenor bearer pick of the CPP. After that program in Buchanan a week ago, it's been a very busy week for the newly picked vice tenor bearer of the CPP. I mean, it's like I usually hear people say, you hit the ground running, you know, instead of hitting the ground and lie down flat or sit down flat, you hit the ground and you're running. I mean, less than 1 week, she's done so large. I mean, she's giving 2 major interviews. I guess you've been following her. What are some of the things you gather from her? You want to play and let's hear some of what she's been saying?
Yeah, thank you, Liva, and thanks to our listening audience. And kindly share the show. We're also on the online radio at the moment, the 24/7 radio. So, yes, Charlyne, from what happened in Grand Bassa County after she was picked, I think there is a momentum in the CPP camp. She is the most talked about running mate to Mr. Cummings, and this is what it is. And I think we'll go through some of her clip and look about. I was listening to something on closing argument when people were calling in. And this guy is a sedition where he said from what he listened to and from the beauty of Charlyne, he going to campaign for her. So what does that tell you? It means she have that appearance that when people see her, they just like her without opening her mouth. So it's something that she brought to the table, and I think that will compliment Mr. Cummings a lot. And I think and she's firing. So we'll listen to some of her things that she been saying, and then we take it from there. So Mark, if you guys want all to just she was on OKFN to start with, and then she ended that evening with the closing argument. There are a few things so we can.
Yeah, just flow what you have.
Yeah, so
Yeah, let her, you know, before we just flow, I mean, you know, Mr. Cummings and the team, the entire team, right? Because it's not just woman's decision when you go into pick. Yeah. It's like you sit in a boardroom and the team come up with a suggestion, right? And you making the final decision, or the president sitting in a war room and the country being attacked, and you got all these generals coming with different you know, strategy, how the president should respond, right? So that's exactly the position Mr. Cummings was in when he was trying to pick a running mate. So you have all these brilliant minds coming from here and there, like the American president America is on attack, and you trying to pick how they call it. I mean, you trying to respond. So the UP, when they did their stuff, and ANC has to respond to gain the momentum, to bring the people on board, to win the minds of the people. And that's exactly what Mr. Cummings and his team did. and he, as the commanding general, agreed to that. Pick and never turn it back, because had they turned it back, I told you guys on the show, right? Had they made any mistake and rejected Charlyne, we would have been talking different thing today. So I'm happy that they stick to their guts and they pick Charlyne, and you see the momentum. So we can dive into her speech or the program she had, and let's see how best we can dissect whatsoever on tape.
Thank you, Mark. So we'll roll with this first little clip from OKFN. Clarence was the one interviewing her, and she said a few things. And after this little 3 minutes or 2 minutes of clip, and then we can talk about it. Listen.
The hands of the daughter of Charles Brumskin, Charlyne Brumskin, as his running mate to be the vice presidential candidate on his ticket. And so what? What new flavor? What is the ID? What's the importance of getting a Charlyne Brumskin to Cummings? What will it do for the CPP?
Look what it's done for Liberia. Look what it's done in the diaspora. Look, and Clarence, you know me. I'm not somebody who is arrogant. I don't pat myself on the back. I actually try to, kind of shy away from the limelight. What this ticket has done, it has excited the base of silent voters in Liberia. There are a lot of noisy parties. There are people who are very noisy and talk. CPP is not a noisy party. But when you hear how the message is resonating with the people, it is a message of integrity, first and foremost. Our people are tired with the same old politics, the same recycled and reused politicians. Our people want something new. The biggest, and we'll talk about some of the critics, and criticism against me, is that I don't have experience in politics. The people are excited that we don't have experience in politics. The integrity, a woman. And, we know what women bring to the ticket. When I was in Buchanan, I would always talk about the difference between female politicians and male politicians. This is not to disparage our fathers, our brothers, our leaders who are men in any way. But men tend to be very transactional when it comes to politics. Women are relational. So we bring this relational aspect, understanding what the child in Newcrewtown is feeling without exploiting the poverty, the suffering of the child in Newcrewtown for political advantage. We bring a lawyer. I am someone who is well versed in the laws, the policies and regulations of this country. I can say quite confidently that having never practiced or served in government, I have probably reviewed and drafted more legislation, more policies than some of your lawmakers. So we bring a wealth of experience in terms of policy, legislation drafting. I also am someone who, Clarence, I understand, and I think there has just a basic understanding of how the system works, but from being outside the system. I'm a businesswoman. I have run my own law firm. I didn't go and sit with Brumskin Associates. I didn't sit under my father. I decided I wanted to employ Liberians myself. I have men who are counselors at law, who are older than me, who work with me and work for me. I've employed young Liberians. I'm a professor of law. I'm an assistant professor of law. I've taken a leave of absence. I spoke to Dean Jala Babu, and asked during this campaign season to take a leave of absence. But I also am in the education sector. I understand some of the challenges from an administrative perspective. I understand how important it is for us to provide, to volunteer ourselves, because we're not getting paid at the law school, right? But how do I impact young people? So we bring a wealth, even, there's a community that really is not spoken about quite often, the folks in the diaspora, who we know provide a tremendous amount of assistance and support and investment in our economic sector. Yeah, we have galvanized, we have energized the base in the diaspora.
Now, when you...
Well, guys, listen to the eloquence of this beautiful young woman. she's firing. You see, one thing in Liberia, what we have the thing in the West, they say political rhetoric. In Liberia, they say the word they use, the man can speak, he have the political talk. But this woman, she have the political talk. She when she speaks, she demands, she full authority in her voice. Just from that little clip, what you guys saw, that alone said everything about her. So Mark talked about this. He's gonna live for chime in.
I did see the momentum that she brought to the CPP just from her speech. I mean, from answering that question, that was speech, but from answering that question. And one few things she said, and I would like to pick on a few of those things as I bring Mark back. First, she said she brings a wealth of experience to the table, and she brings momentum to the base of the CPP. What does that mean? First, she made something. She did actually qualified what the CPP is. She said the CPP is not that noisy party, meaning that they're not out there making all the noise. Oh, we got the number, we got this, we got that, and the other people nobody know them. No, the CPP does not do that. So the CPP is disciplined from her own perspective, and the CPP is that silent but very hard-working group. So she said she brought momentum to that, and the momentum is built not only back home where she is, but also in the diaspora. And
Right.
in the closing, you heard what she said. There is a group of people in Liberia that people forget. That's the diaspora Liberian, because each person in the diaspora comes from a family. And if you came from a family and you live in the diaspora, you got people back home who listen to you, who you can command. I was talking to somebody and the person asked me, "Did you go to Liberia to register?" I said, "No." "Oh, so you said on the internet, you get talking, you get voting right?" I said, "No, listen. I come from a clan. I got brothers and sisters who are married. They got their wives, and their wives to get brothers and family and all that thing. Okay, and they know me. And being their brother, I can appeal to their consciences and their spouses and tell them, no, go and vote for X, Y, and Z, and they will do it. I got no one vote. So even if I'm there, I will cast one vote. And while I'm there, I can also influence thousands of people to vote. So it's a thing, even if I didn't go. Okay. But the point she was trying to make is that there is a group of people in the diaspora that Liberian people tend to forget. They tend to overlook. They don't see the important role that the diaspora Liberians play back home. Okay? Now, that one of the things she said. And then she said she brought experience. She's also worked in government before. So all the noise they make that, oh, the two people not working in government and thing, she debunked it. Okay? She has some experience. Right now, she teaches at the Louis Addo Grand School of Law, volunteering. It's not that government institution. Okay, she's not taking pay, free. And she said she's also employed Liberians. Can you imagine? Young lady, she employed Liberians who are even older than her. And so I think she brings a wealth of experience, and she brings a wealth of morale to the party, because it's like you were playing football, Paul. We all play football, man. We all play football before. Okay, when your team there, when you're playing against the opposite team, maybe you're playing home. Or you're playing away from home, and the people get too much cheering. Even if they miss the ball, they cheering for them. That's a morale for them. And you, the visitors, you get there running around. Maybe when you miss the ball, say, even if you keep good ball, say boo. You can bring your morale down. But she brought morale to the team, to the CPP. And that I think that momentum is building. That's just a few of the things I pick up from there.
Great. So, Brother Mark, you want to chime in this? What y'all take from that little clip that you watch?
The most important that I can say about that clip is the passion in her voice. And that's one thing the CPP need to explore. So if you listen to that young lady, you set her on a platform to talk to tens of thousands of people. You're going to see those people, they're going to have a change of mind, those that oppose. If you listen to Charlyne, you hear her father in her. If any, I know you guys, but speaking maybe figuratively here. If anyone that have listened to the late old man, her father, you will hear that that's the old man speaking. They got the same way of articulating. So she's fired up and she's ready for whatsoever challenges that will be put before her. And she understands the problem of the Liberian people, you understand? So this is somebody who volunteered to teach us. You guys said that's something to be looked at, to take into account. And the next thing is people talking about, oh yeah, she doesn't have the experience. But the people that have the experience, where have they taken this country? That's the question I want to ask. The people that have this experience. Anybody? Linford. The people that ask that talk about the experience. Where have the experienced people taken the country? That's one good question. Oh yeah, the two people, they can speak the dialect. You got some of your children living in the diaspora, they can speak the dialect. You understand? So they are just afraid of the ticket of the CCP and this lady. Where I would disagree with Paul on the one that where he said to overtake the stand-up bearer. The stand-up bearer. Mr. Cummings. No, say what you want to say. To overshadow. But Mr. Cummings, say what you want to say. Mr. Cummings too. You gave Mr. Cummings the mic and let him lay a message out there. So you got the two people fire up. You understand? And once people see Mr. Cummings, they get carried away. So I would disagree with you on that one that, the stand-up bearer, Charlyne, will shadow the stand-up bearer. But she bring a lot, and she bring a lot of energy, a lot of firepower to the ticket that I won't take from her. But the CCP, before Paul will move to the next stage, the CCP need to make use of her voice, the passion. You understand? They need to make use of that. That's why Obama, if you listen to Obama election, right? It's not that Obama was too this and that. Obama, I would say that he's somebody who studied the Abraham Lincoln, you understand, speeches and stuff, and how to, the body language, the eye contact with voters. And if they prepare Charlyne in the next 2 weeks, people will go home like Charles Taylor, right? When Charles Taylor is talking on the radio, when Charles Taylor is talking on the radio, every part of Liberia, everybody will come to that small radio to listen to what Charles Taylor has to tell the Liberian people. Say what you want to say about Charlie, but Charlie had the language to his advantage, and he has that something in him to pursue, for people to move people to his camp. So that's the same thing with Charlyne, and that's a gift for the CCP. So I stop here and we'll move on to the next level.
Let me get drop in small. I think Paul. I think it was just a slip of tongue when Paul said she will overshadow.
No, you know we get. Come on. I understand why my brother man.
Y'all shouldn't talk for me here. There's something in Liberia. No. There's something in Liberia they call the political language.
Yeah, excuse me. In Scandinavia, you will have coffee, so I drink coffee.
So you see, Mr. Cummings, when I mean overshadow, he's cool, he's gentle, his approach is very diplomatic, but she's a straight talker. And that's what I'm saying. When you listen to her, she speaks with passion. She go forceful with what she want to say. She don't play around. We got to be that softness.
That's what I think I listened to Mr. Cummings on one interview. where he said, just recently, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, where he said, he tried to make that comparison between he and Charlie, right? He said he's an introvert, Charlie
Yeah,
is extrovert. So you see,
Exactly.
exactly.
yeah, so you see,
Exactly.
the
He
So,
said
conversation,
so
most.
I mean, you guys win on that one. Exactly. Thank you
Okay.
for the retrospect. No, but
yeah,
just listen to her for the short period, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
mhm,
she's a fire up person.
yeah. And
I,
Mr. Comey is
I,
there
I
taking
would
it
take that
easy.
back. What I said about, I mean, Charlyne. Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul, I think
And these kind of people in the classroom, right? Like Charlyne,
she's a teacher.
her student cannot be dull.
No,
Yeah, her student cannot be dull because
Yeah.
this is somebody when they're talking to the students
you
with
wake
the
up.
voice, with the energy that comes from the voice, the student has to wake up.
And guess what? She's also a lawyer. So
Exactly.
lawyers will always speak, even if they know they're backing the wrong thing, but they will always speak to convince you.
Oh yeah, that's why they call the argument, the final argument. Go
Yes.
see some lawyer in the final argument, the final presentation,
Paul
and then
knows where we
two,
grew up, what the bypass. So I always use to be at the table just to see the lawyer. And one lawyer I used to
exactly.
chair people, Councilor Chair people. Oh boy. Oh boy.
He was for me. He was the best of all. What happened is I was privileged. His sister, his younger sister, Essie Chipo, used to live by our house. I mean, in Painesville. So every 2-3 weeks like that, we used to see. I mean, his uncle Chipo. That's how we call him. So I mean, look, the man when a man is talking, yeah, he talk without authority, and when
He
he
was my
presenting, yeah,
my-
when he making a presentation like that, that's a lawyer talking. And I saw Omer Brumskin like 2 times, so I will compare Omer Brumskin to that of Chico as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, you did mention Barack Obama, and he's
Yeah.
also a lawyer. And so I want you to listen to the next clip
No,
here,
but
and then
yeah, let's go to the next clip. Then I will come in. Obama's skill was the Lincoln aspect. That was Obama's skill because Obama was somebody. And if you see Mr. Cummings is in that direction. For example, like the team of rival, right? Abraham Lincoln, he had a lot of rivals, right? But he also incorporated them into his government. Now, if you listen to Mr. Cummings, he doesn't hold grudges, animosity against people, right? Because some of the best ideas, for example, could come from the other side, and you understand. So Mr. Cummings is somebody who want everybody to participate. You understand? So with that skill in Mr. Cummings, but just that the only thing he's not like Charlyne who fire up.
Charlyne who fire us. So I want you to listen to the next clip, and I think there's a lot of things she said in this as well.
Is a novice to the politics of our country. There's no record anywhere. There's no trace, to prove that Charlyne has worked in the government before. She does not understand the fundamentals of Liberia's politics. Getting her as a vice president, let's assume Cummings won these elections. How do they start? You have somebody who Cummings himself, who comes from the corporate world, understands absolutely nothing about Liberia and its politics in the context of governance, and then he's picked Charlyne Brumskin, who is seen to him. How do you respond to these kinds of people?
Governance is something that can be learned. Integrity is something that is innate and inherent. Anyone can learn to govern. There are people who are leading this country at all levels who never governed before. There are people, and there were good leaders who came from no government experience and who changed and impacted our country. There are people who have been in government for 16 years, 12 years, decades, and have not impacted our country one bit. So if governance in this dispensation, this current government or previous administration is a litmus test for good leadership, then we need to rethink it. We have politicians who have been at the seat, at the helm of power for decades and have not moved the needle an inch forward. Mr. Cummings and I think, take pride in the fact that we have not served in government, but we can lead and we have governance experience. There's a difference between politics and between governance. There's a difference between politics and policy. What Liberia needs is not politicians. What Liberia needs are leaders. People who understand the nuance of the global economy. No, the child in Nukutan does not need another politician. The child in Nukutan needs someone who understands the international economy, who understands the economics of investment. How do we get people out of, Nigeria? Get foreign investors out of Sierra Leone. Get them out of Ghana. I'm talking about our regional neighbors. And get them into Liberia. How do we ensure that we have public policy on the books that will make sure that our technological sector is at least moving towards the trend of other African nations, because we are lagging far, far behind.
Gentlemen, Linford, I'll start with you. What your take on that? Mr. Cummings does not have government experience. Charlie don't have government experience, but she just nailed it just now from what she just said. So, Linford, take us through. You muted.
The counselor is right. Let me tell you, there are certain things that can be learned, and there are certain things that is inborn, and we call those things inborn tendencies, like leadership. I hear people say they study leadership. You don't study leadership. You only read about leadership. If you went to school and read about leadership, you're only reading about something that somebody has written about. Okay? But leadership is inborn tendency. No, let me tell you. I served as kindergarten, or elementary school teacher for many years in Liberia. And every time the recess time, when the kids are also playing, right away you know who is leader among them. When they play football, or now even the girls play now football, you know who is leader. Because that person will tell somebody to do something and will do it. Mm-hmm. Okay? So even if you go to kindergarten and just stay by the children watching, you will see leader. Leaders are born. They always lead. They always tell you do this. They see what you do see. So, and then she said, governance is what can be learned. That's you can learn to govern. And you can also serve in government for many years and still not know how to govern and do nothing and impact nobody positively. Of course, we will impact people negatively, like what we're seeing now with the present administration we have. They've been there for 5 years, almost 6 years now, and still nothing good is happening. What's happening? People are going to bed hungry. Okay, so is this the experience that Liberian people always talk about in government? So are they going to elect Georgia in another election if he comes with his CV and say our president before? So is this the kind of leadership that, or experience that people want? And I've always said this, Paul, and I will continue to say it, that if I work in a Liberian government, I would not be proud to put it on my CV to carry anywhere. Okay? Government all over the world, it's not a good resume to carry anywhere, because if you came from government, and you went in the private sector to look for a job, they'll ask you why, they'll be skeptical. But if you came from the private sector and you went to government, you might easily be employed. The reason is that in the private sector, there are certain things, especially in Liberia, there are certain things that happen in the private sector that do not happen in government. Look at government, your Liberian president, the man making music. If Mr. Cummings was at Cllr and making music, he was playing basketball, he will land down home and not do anything. You think in 10 years, you think he will work with Cllr? It will break down. And to those people who always make this stupid argument and say, Coca-Cola was structured, or it's a structured place, and communists went there to work. Let me tell you one thing. Liberia was a structured place. Ellen Johnson administration did small thing. Joshua King, there, what he did, he broke it down because Joshua is not a leader. So if Mr. Comey was not a leader, in 10 years, when he worked at Coca-Cola, that structure that he made there, he would have broken it down. So this is what people need to know. That a leader, if you want to come
and she also said Liberia don't need politicians at this time.
No.
So I want you to talk about that, then Mark can chime in.
Remember, Paul, I think if you remember, long time ago I said on the show that what Liberia needs is a manager. Right now, we don't need politicians. We didn't need somebody or ruler, somebody who will kind of rule and say, okay, yeah, I'm the boss, like Joshua, I'm the boss, I can fly my private jet and go anywhere I want to go and go for 48 days. No, we don't need a ruler. We need a manager. No, Liberia is like a company that you invested so much in, and that company is breaking down because no manager. So right now, what we need is a manager to manage our economy, to manage our security, to manage our rule of law. So that we need manager right now. We don't need somebody who kind of rule. When you're ruling over, you must have a system before you can rule. You can't just come and want to rule when you have no system in place, when the people are hungry, when nothing is going on, no job. So who are you ruling over? So we need a manager who will care for his employees. Employees in the same meaning the citizens of Liberia. I'll stop there for now.
Right. So, Brother Mark, you heard Charlyne. From the two clips that we play, do you think she have now, for the short period of time, have reached the hearts and minds of few Liberians that have listened to her? What your take on this?
I mean, remember on, I think, few of our shows, and a couple of weeks ago, I talked about I don't want to take credit for this, but I mentioned about the silent voters, right? And the silent voters were like the sleepers, and you understand? The sleepers. So they are waking up on this ticket. And, this thing about leadership, okay? Let's say, for example, you in the government now, and you were to National Port Authority, and they take you from National Port Authority. They send you to Finance Ministry. What do you know about the Finance Ministry? You are going to the Finance Ministry, you go through what they call introduction. For introduction, then you start to integrate into that system little by little. By what means? By education, you understand? By reading. So this thing about leadership, Mr. Comey is an educated man, Charlyne is an educated woman. So it's not going to take them long if you send them to any institution. I don't know if she's a mathematician, but even you send them to Finance Ministry, they're going to manage Finance Ministry the best way possible. So this thing about don't have leadership experience, what was Joel Howard Taylor? What was George Weah? Leadership before he became president. Joe Barker, okay? Who made Joe Barker known? Now, Ellen Johnson made Joe Barker known. Which articles say government? Let me give you an example, Paul. Go to Paul Kagame history, right? Paul Kagame, besides serving in the government and going to the presidency, he never had any big position before in the government. But look at the work he had done. Yeah, he was a military man. But look at the work Paul Kagame had done today in Rwanda. And look how when he speaks to world leaders, they listen. You understand? Those are the kind of people we're looking for in Liberia to manage the wild info said, to manage our resource. Because our resource, people have been taking advantage of for a long time. So Liberia need, Linfo was right, Liberia need a manager. Liberia need no, how they call it, say technocrat or blah, blah, blah to come up. We had the technocrat for a long time. Yeah. These Liberia, how they call themselves aristocrat, we are having for a long time. And where have they gotten the country to? Nowhere. So it's time that Liberian people look for a manager that will manage the resources. For example, look, you got, how they call this, the Liberian Ocean, right? We Liberian, we don't know how many boats, okay, that enter, because according to the maritime law, 200 miles, right, off the main shore. But because we don't have boats, for example, like in Sano, Maryland, Grand Crew, Riverside, everybody focusing Monrovia. That Monrovia, everybody, I mean, the attention at. But some boat can come as close as Insano, Maryland fishing. The Coast Guard, area, then they are not equipped. You understand? The Coast Guard, area are not equipped. So the people are they are exploiting our resource from that end. We have one of the richest, how do you call it, marine reserve on the coast of Liberia, but other boats then come fishing. So we need a manager that will invest into the society, okay, through education. For example, she talked about the child in Nukutan, where the child in Nukutan, and then to the Liberian people, if you listen to the Liberian people, sometimes they don't know exactly what they want. You understand? You see people, they'll go to vote these same people in office, and tomorrow they start complaining.
They just
like the people, they start complaining. Like the people in the diaspora, okay? Our people survive on we in the diaspora here. But I gave you an example. You have somebody in the diaspora, a friend of yours, will call you and say, my man, yeah, things not fine on me, things hard. And you take $100, you say, let me send it to my man. But you go look, you on the man Facebook page, the man supporting CDC. You understand? And this man, he's educated. This man could be working and earning at least $300 a month to take care of his family every month, but he's supporting CDC, the same government are causing suffering. Then he come to you now. When you talking to him, putting senses into his head, the man said, my man, yeah, let me just get $100 from that man. That man move from here. I go into my CDC rally. The next day, he find on CDC rally. So the people, they how they call this for? They bring the suffering on themselves to my brother.
Yeah, first
so Liberia need managers, and so we got Mr. Cummings. The fixer 1 and 2. These are the two people that come from another sector that they have managed before, and then they want to bring this into government that will be able to transform the country.
And Paul, just before you transition, I know you got all the videos, you play them. But let me just say one thing. This is the second time or third time I say this thing. Liberian government experience, I don't want to have it to carry anywhere as experience. Because this is the worst experience. A government where people steal and go with impunity. People die. The government own people, their own officials die. Government didn't say anything. So I want to ask the Liberian people, you're saying somebody should have government experience. So when Georgia come, then why they want to move Georgia? Why everybody say they should vote against Georgia? Because Georgia get experience. Georgia get government experience. So why you want to move him? You see, our people will make mistake. Those of us who live in the diaspora, in fact, forget about diaspora. People who in Liberia, who work with company. My father worked with Chase Martin Bank all the time. When Chase Martin was real Chase Martin, my father worked with the bank. And I remember Saturday, when I used to go to that bank, the way things were looking, speak and span. You enter that bank, like nobody there. People inside doing that work. If you go to government ministry, you see people passing up and down. They're rushing. People bumping into each other because no hair, no tail, no discipline. So, like I always say, even in that kitchen factory, they call Nakon product in Liberia. The people that are working there, they're more disciplined, more than people who work in the executive mansion. Because people who work in the executive mansion will decide to go to work anytime they want to go to work. But the guy working at Nakon, even the security or the sweeper, will know that if he goes to work late, they will fire him. So he kind of abide by that law. But in like, bro, get something called government job or government car, nobody respect those things. So is that kind of experience that people always talk about? So then let's just keep talking them because George got 5 years experience in government already, plus being senator for 2-3 years. Go ahead, brother.
So, let me give people the idea of government experience in Liberia. If you have a car and going to get your car registration document at Ministry of Transport, right outside Transport Ministry, the transaction takes place. That is the government experience. You will sit right there, people will come to you, the money will not go into government revenue. And the person who you're transacting with, in few months' time, he built a mansion. That is government experience in Liberia. Now, the money that is supposed to generate that will help JFK or Tottenham High School or GW Gazing School, that money enter in somebody's pocket. That is the government experience in Liberia. So when you hear people say these people don't have government experience, they're telling you, so you have now, y'all need to steal first to have that experience. Because if your hand is caught in a cookie jar, then they know you have government experience in Liberia. Stealing become the norm. So that's why it's good that Mr. Cummings and Charlyne don't have that kind of experience. Because those in government, those who have served before, if you put out the list of Liberian rich people, all of them have caught the big elephant in Liberia. That means they stole money from the people, they have stolen from us, they became rich overnight. That is the government experience. So those who come
the
from
council says,
outside,
yeah.
those who came from
She
outside
also
with
said
their little
something. You
cash,
compare on this one there. You compare on this one. I just want you to build on what I was saying, or to remind you. She said the people are happy, they are excited that Mr. Cummings Hall do not have government experience. You understand? Just to relate to what you're talking.
Yes.
Because the people know the government experience that you're explaining, right? Government experience is when the guy can steal, when the guy can build house in 2 months' time when he's in government. But both Mr. Cummings and Charlyne do not have that experience. So the people are excited about them.
Exactly.
Continue.
They're excited because these two people, they made their own money. They're not coming into government to steal. The other people tell us say they on loan. So if somebody who is living on loan and you gave him you gave him, let's say, a managerial post in government, where do you think he's going to get that money from? He's going to steal. I mean, we can give example. Jefferson Coach was in Zin house yesterday. Today he in mansion.
You were not even in Zin, you were renting.
I just said Zin house. My man, you making it to sound good. So he's in mansion. That is the government experience they talk about in Liberia. You should know how to steal. So when you're a big thief, then you have government experience. That's why both of those people that are running against the CPP, they have a serious problem on hand. Because how those who been stealing against people who have never ever caught that big elephant in Liberia, the stealing elephant. So you see what we're talking about? Because Liberia is an elephant meat, whoever comes to power, they cut the meat and leave it for the next group of people.
They cut their share. Yeah.
Yes.
That's how
So
Liberia
now,
is.
these people have not caught any of that elephant meat. They now start seeing something different, that they can speak with passion that, look, check our record. So the other people say, oh, government experience on what ground? So if you listen to the argument between the CDC and the UP, the UP accused CDC of stealing, and CDC said, no, y'all were stealing first. So the two people argue who stole more. So that's tell you this is the kind of government experience they're talking about. It's about time that Liberians see Loche and go for the best managers at this time. And the only best manager we have in this race is Alexander Cummings.
Thank you. And exactly to add on what you're saying, I mean, like, look, Liberian people got their own how they call it, medicine, right? They got their own medicine to their soul, but they don't want to cure the soul. You understand? In the sense that if we elected a government and the first 6 months, that government can't deliver. The first 6 years, that government didn't deliver, right? Why should we trust that government again? So
Exactly.
you set an example on that government, and if possible, the next government, every government that comes to power, once they deliver their promises, the rhetorics they use, all those things that they promise, they deliver even 50%. There's no need of you people giving the opportunity again for the second time. So it's that like you selling your own self or you impressing your own self by giving that man the second time. And I hope Liberian people will listen to the message coming from Mr. Cummings and Charlyne and don't listen to all the jargon, the garbage that will be coming from people, but they should listen to what is in the message, and you understand, from Mr. Cummings, from Charlyne. And this man, we're going to say this thing over and over and over. This man is a negotiator. He know how to negotiate. When he sit on the table talking for our mineral resources that people going to be coming after, like Charlyne said, look, because of the way the country look, the investors that want to come to the country, they are in our neighboring country. It's because of poor management. That's the reason they are into our neighboring country. And we should be grateful that a lot of them have not come to the country to explore, and you understand, the opportunity. Because looking at the government that is in charge now, they can't sit to negotiate, and you understand, fruitfully on behalf of the Liberian people. The few million that will come, you'll find it will vanish in thin air, and you understand. So, Liberian people should really think twice this October election. It is them to decide what they want. Yeah.
Just to add a little bit to when you talk about investors coming, let me tell you one thing. There is this saying that good money is a friend of bad environment. And that goes to say that in Liberia now, the condition is so bad that no good investor will come. You see, we can't deny that investors will come, but whatever investors are coming, they are the same kind of crook investors because there are people who want to bypass the proper channel. So they come, they meet one minister and say, oh, look, give me something, I'll go and sign a deal. So if my company is a crook company that got no fingerprint anywhere in the world, but I see this little opportunity in Liberia that I can exploit, I'll go there. Even if they ask me for a million, once I can afford it, I'll give it to them because I know I'll get illegally. I can give you some examples. Some of the funny companies are in Liberia recently or that are operating recently. What happening? Some of them not even pay their employees. We see every day people striking. Some of them go and poison the water for the people. Some of them taking the iron ore illegally. Then people complaining because they are crook companies and because they didn't want crook.
Lever, when I see some of these government officials with this degree and stuff, you understand, and they are corrupt, then it reminds me of a saying that I can't remember the name that said it. Say that when a crook go to one of the best institutions to get a degree, he only go there to be a thief. Yeah, nothing else get him to that university. He want to be a better thief. And that's what we got in Liberia. All these people that say they get the one, they get the one, they get that one. Look at the country. They went to these institutions, graduate from there with a degree, with certificate and things, just to be a better thief. And that's what is in Liberia. So let's move on to the next topic.
A better thief. So let's listen to the other clip, and then we'll move. I've been here for a while now. We need to be on it. But before we move to the next clip, I just want to say this: on Tuesday next week, we're gonna have Dr. King here. He will be our guest and will be on the Real Power radio station in Liberia on Tuesday. So join us for a fruitful discussion with Dr. King. He's going to talk more about Alexander Cummings and the team with Charlyne as well being on the team and the CPP what we call Mr. Cummings' 5 pillars. We're going to discuss that on Tuesday. So join us. We'll be on the Red Power radio station on Tuesday, the same time. So we're going to move on to the next little clip, and I want you guys to listen to this fiery woman.
To know quite obviously that 2017, Mr. Cummings and I were not on the same ticket. We're down the same side. We actually fought him, very aggressively. And I've gotten to know this man over the past 2 years. The vision Mr. Cummings has for this country, it is one that we have never seen before. And it quite mirrors what I believe Cllr Brumskin, the vision Cllr Brumskin has. Even when obviously we have been very much, I'm somewhat saddened about leaving Buchanan District. We have really advocated and worked and created a love story between myself and the people of Buchanan City. And some of my vision that I had for Buchanan City when I sat with Mr. Cummings exactly mirrored. We have been talking to Buchanan residents about making Buchanan the commercial hub of Liberia through the port of Buchanan. The first time I sat with Mr. Cummings, he talked to me about some of these ideas. He has this idea of a Liberia of inclusion. Without speaking to him or going through his policy points, when I was talking to the media team about what my idea was, I used the word inclusivity. We must have a Liberia for all Liberians, by all Liberians. This divide that we have in our country, that we have had for too long, has done nothing except for to keep certain people in power.
Okay, I know we'll come to all of that.
Right. Let me go into the next one, and then we can.
Before we go, I think she said 2 things here that I want to talk about.
All right, go on.
First one is vision. Even the Bible talks about it. See, if the leader of the nation has no vision, that nation is doomed. It will perish. Because vision is seeing something far ahead and preparing for it and planning for it. So if you only sleep and wake up and operate according to the day, sleep again, wake up, you will not know what's coming. And most time when I hear people say, "Oh, white men get same more than black men," no, it's because white men got vision. White men can think far ahead. Okay, white men will plan. Yeah, Liberia will discover oil few years back. What they did, I see money. So all the poor black, they forget about the unborn children. That our children that will be born and their own children do need to live. They saw all the all black to different people. So the citizens who have all black animal, no vision. Our iron ore. They take it, they give it to some company. They draw all embroidery to Europe and America. That empty hole we get. We plant rubber tree. In fast race a whole country. Say we can buy rubber slipper. Even the rubber gun that the children can use at home, we say buy it. No vision. Our country, who are 175 years old, we get drinking water because no vision. They didn't prepare for it. So she talked about vision. And I think there's one thing that Mr. Cummings brings to the table to the Liberian people, vision. Then the other thing she talked about is inclusivity. Include everybody. No, don't say because a CDC that won the election, so that only CDC or CPP will win, so Mr. Cummings will go and take Paul, Mike, and all of us who support the CPC and say, no. Because there are people who are on the outside of your organization that have better idea that you're not thinking about. This saying that 2 hairs are better than 1 hair is true. Because if I've always said it, if you bring elephant here for 3 hours to describe it, even if I mark una elephant, my been keeping that elephant for years. But the way certain thing I would describe on that elephant, and certain thing Paul would describe on that elephant, I was living in my own elephant where I've been keeping, so I didn't see all this thing. So everybody got different idea. So if you make the government inclusive, where you got people with diverse background in different education, different upbringing, they bring their ideas together, I think you have a better country. So those are some of the things that Charlyne and Mr. Cummings are thinking about. Vision and inclusivity. Nobody will be left out. Mr. Cummings has already said it. It's a big tent. Everybody can come there and eat a big bowl of rice. Those of us that come from any country will know what that means. Where they cook the food, they bring it, all of us will eat together. You listen, that what green you take that business. Some guy get food at whole hand. So it depends how you operate. So you eat enough.
Yeah, so I want to play the other one on closing argument, and then Mark and tie all two together and come in. Then listen to this little clip.
Has been very clear that there will be an audit. And the reason there will be an audit is because, number one, accountability. We have to understand that an audit is not a witch hunt of the previous government. We're not auditing because we feel that the current administration is, involving criminal activity. No. The Liberian people deserve an accounting of their assets, of their funds. They need to know how their monies have been spent. They need to know what logistics are in place. They need to know what belongs to them. So there will be an immediate audit to ensure that the Liberian people have an accountability of their money, essentially. Number two, this audit also does speak to impunity. It does speak to what our people, it still goes back to accountability. If we have someone who has not been a good custodian of the people's vehicles, the people's funds, the people's assets, there needs to be accountability. That person needs to be held to task. And lastly, and I think very importantly, is that Mr. Cummings is the kind of, the man is an executor. The man does not waste time. Mr. Cummings said to us the other day, he said when we are elected, and maybe this is for him to say, the inauguration day, we're going to work. No celebration, no party, no jolly, we're going to work. So the idea of the first 100 days is so important to him. It's so imperative to both he and I. Our names are on the line here. We will make promises to Liberian people that we intend to keep on the afternoon of inauguration. So the idea of auditing is essential because he cannot begin to execute his promises to Liberian people of what he will do in the first 100 days if we don't know what assets, we don't know what's available, we don't know what's happening. So all of these are essential tools to make sure the Liberian people get what they deserve under a Cummings Brumskin.
Right. So, Brother Mark and Linford, this Charlyne is speaking with authority here. These people, they claim they don't have government experience, but any sound person, from the way she speak with authority. She speak like a manager that this is what we're going to do. So, Mark, I want you, the first clip and this one here, blend all two and speak to our audience.
Yeah, what I take from the first clip is that when she talk about the Port of Buchanan and talk about making Buchanan to be one of the economic hub of Liberia, right? And, these things should have happened a long time ago, not just Buchanan. If you look, for example, Harper, the city of Harper, besides Monserrato County, is one of the best, beautiful city in among all the counties. Then you come to Sano. No quota have reached Sano since. And Sano is one of the founding members of the country we call Liberia today, because there were 6, original county, if I'm correct, that started the whole process. You look at Grand Cru, Cru Coast Territory and Grand Cess Territory joined together from Grand Cru. But Maryland has a seaport, Sano has a seaport, Grand Bassa has a seaport, Grand Cru and Riverside don't have a seaport. I could be wrong. And Monserrato County has a seaport, right? So Mr. Cummings coming now, the president appointed city mayor, right? Now, Mr. Cummings appoint Mr. Cllr, for example, figuratively now. Mr. Cllr, what's your vision for the transformation of Maryland or Sano County or any of the county for that matter? And the county you go into has, for example, maybe 200,000 people live in that county. How can you bring these people together? For for you to work together, for example, to provide even a semi-hospital, okay, for you to provide junior college, okay, that teach different, skills and stuff. So these are things that she was talking about when she talked about Grand Bassa County being one of the best county in Liberia. Then you come to the second clip, right? This thing about auditing. Auditing take place everywhere, even in the West here. They audit. Only place you don't find auditing are in Africa. And Liberia is one of the main ground you don't find auditing. But one of the things is that if they go into audit, it's not just to audit, but people should be held accountable. So, for example, somebody who's not making $200,000 in a year time, but this person built a $500,000 house, got swimming pool, got XYZ in his house. How did he get that money? Government can confiscate that property and sell that property because that meant investing money from government. That's how he built that house. So I think that's what they need to start and build more. How they call it? Say, if they're serious about it, the communist administration should build. The infrastructure of what we call the prison infrastructure. Because looking at Liberia, we don't have the prison infrastructure for these. Because the list going to be long. It's not just only the WIA administration. Because if you go after the WIA administration alone, it's going to be like witch hunt. So you got to start from.
I think I will invest heavily from the British government here to send 7 prison ships to Liberia, because if the list is long, then we can put them on sea to be in prison and serve their term. So I think that would be something that
exactly like the movie Stallone Escape, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't need to even build prison. There are a lot of old ships these people got around in Europe.
Yeah.
You can talk to them. They had a they put these ships in good condition, and you take these people in the middle of the ocean, nowhere they know where they're at. Okay,
exactly. So you
and
come from there,
you
never see from the country.
You only get helicopter. You only get helicopter carrying food to them, but they don't know where they're at, because you can, even if you try to swim, like you and a shark going to discuss that one. You understand? So taking money to build, how they call it, those things on the ground. Sometimes those people, they will influence other people to break pricing. So that's a fine step of how they call it, auditing. And I'm in favor of auditing, but it should not be wage hunt with the WIA government alone.
I want Linford to come in here small, because they said that when they inherit the government, they're not just going to start where we all don't know what's in the covers. They got to know before they start, because you can't just take a country, you don't know what's there, and that's where you're striking. So how will you give me something, say, work with it, where am I going to get the money from, and where did the money go? How much did you make? You have to say something. You generated revenue for 5-6 years. Then you get empty covers. No, they have to be audited, and she's right. So, therefore, I know you won't come in this one.
Yeah. Let me just add something on. They're going to be mindful about it, right? Because we're just talking here now, but we are forgetting about the political and diplomatic process, right? So, a government taking over, for example, don't forget that the security apparatus stay in charge by that same old government meant that you how they call it, taking off. Okay, then the next thing is you got the justice minister stay there, you got the XYZ stay there. So you got to make sure that you clean these people up, put your own people in place, then before you start the process. So the process not just going to start maybe the first year just like that, but they got to do other things.
No, it does not work like that, Mark. Before these people took over, I remember in 2017, when on the ground, 2018, before CDC government took over, they met with the ruling government that was living at the time, and they exchanged hands. So Ministry of Finance will meet the team of the new finance ministry that's coming, and they will give them the folder. They're not just going to say, oh, 1 year later. No. That's the transition. You're going to turn over something.
The transition period sometimes it lasts For example, like in the West, here, sometimes it lasts up to 3 months, the transition period, right? So
And
during the
the reason,
transition period, you can't just start auditing. You got to sit down first
no,
for
no, you're
before you
not
start
auditing, Mark.
working.
You see what happened? If I'm going to take over Ministry of Finance, the minister, that the outgoing minister, will give a folder, and that folder, that's why you see it, the inauguration take place in January, so they have that
Yeah,
time to see what am I receiving from this guy. You go through it with me for 1 month. What am I receiving? Then the auditing come after when we take office, because that's where the process. But that turnover, you will know something now right within that turnover, and that's why when you settle now, then your team start going. The auditing comes in, but not somebody going to say, "Oh, we leave office, leave MTC." I remember Tony Blair, and when he left Gordon Brown in office. When Gordon Brown was
exactly.
leaving, there was the secretary left a note on his desk. The cupboards are empty. I mean, they have spent all the money. So
Yeah,
the next government, so if you're not going to give somebody a blank sheet, but then after I receive something in a folder, that folder I'll go through it. And then now we'll say, okay, this they did this for 6 years, and then the auditing start in the process. So Linford, you want to chime Nicole? We got 2 more minutes, and I wanted us to
Well,
extend the time to additional 5 minutes because there's something else I wanted to talk about. So you want to come in quickly?
the two reasons why auditing is very important. Number one, it will avoid stealing for the next government.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it will help the government to know what they have to start with. Now, let me take you back to 2017. When the election was held, Georgia won in 2017. They had October, November. Let's start from November, December, January. There was turnover. During that inauguration, that turnover, it was 2 months. So within that 2 months, all of the ministers, all the directors, and everybody who were in the previous government were expecting two things: either to be replaced or to retain a job. So, but there are certain key people in the government that know they will go. The president will go. The old president will go. The old vice president will go. Okay, so there is something called turnover note that every government official that is leaving office will have to give, especially the president, will have to give to their successor. Okay, so that turnover note will include a lot of information that this new government or this new person coming will read and know where they're starting from. So it's just it's another form of audit. But the financial audit, it has to be very important.
Mm-hmm.
And for those two reasons that I gave, that it will avoid stealing for the new. You see how the Georgia government is corrupt because they did not audit the old government. So they said, the old government said, we left money there. Then they said, no, we didn't see money. So you didn't see money, why you didn't audit? So then they can't hold the old government responsible because the old government said, we left money. You should have audited them so that it will avoid you having problem. Right now, you can't carry Ellen Johnson, Georgia can't carry Ellen to court. Because Ellen said, I left money there. Georgia said, no, you didn't leave money there. But why you didn't audit me? You see, it's just like Paul get apartment, or Paul is moving from one apartment. Paul did not move all 18. I can't in the apartment. I said, Paul, you not here. Paul said, I left one in there. You are moving, why you move your thing? Then then you say you left one there. I said, I see it. So you hold me, you can't hold me. I see your bed. Because I was moving in here, you are moving, or you should have carried your bed. So
and just for a second, brother Paul. And the reason we're talking about the audit today because we don't have a serious government in place. So, for example, the Justice Department, right? If they were operating as an independent body, I think they would have been able to do an effective job. But where you have the Justice Minister is appointed by the President, the Solicitor General is appointed by the President, and who do they investigate? For example, if one ministry is corrupt, for example, like Samuel 12, the Justice Minister, should have set up a team through how they call it, a criminal investigation division unit to go and investigate whatsoever crime were taking place at, that institution. But who is the justice minister to go and investigate? The president's best friend. So I hope under Mr. Cummings' leadership, the justice minister that he's going to appoint will operate independently, and let Mr. Cummings have promised there won't be no interference. So, Brother Paul, let's proceed.
Yeah, but Mr. Cummings had already said that you set up a corruption
They already have the LACC, that the anti-corruption people already there. Additional, he's going to set up another group again.
And he said he will empower the LACC.
I mean, we got the LACC. Has the LACC gone after Summit? No.
No. The LACC has been asking for prosecutorial power. That they should empower them to be able to prosecute. They have made recommendations to the Justice Ministry. They have actually caught people. LACC finished catching a lot of people. But then when they catch the people, they don't have that power to prosecute them. So what they do, they tell them go to the Justice Ministry. But the Justice Ministry is not doing anything.
The same thing I just said that what you got.
But that's what I'm talking. You see, you want to blame the LACC, don't blame them, they're doing their job. If you're like the policeman,
all right,
the policeman catch me, I'm driving drone, the policeman catch me. Policeman say, I'll carry you to the court. The court free me. So what the policeman do?
Let's transition. There's this myth that went about for many, many months. I'll say since the court case, over a year now, about Mr. Cummings and Musa Bedete were the cause of Liberty Party to be divided. Now, Charlyne was on closing argument and she spoke about it. So I want people to listen to this, that they thought that the narrative that were going around that Musa Bedete and others broke all the Liberty Party. I just want you guys to listen and have a comment. Then we can go to, we can close off for today. We've been here for a while, 1 hour, 30 minutes now. So listen to this.
Question of what role have I played with reconciliation? I think anyone who has followed my press conferences, my Facebook posts, my conversations, they are clear that I have done everything to maintain the structure, the integrity, the continuation, and the stability of Liberty Party, including calling for these two sides to come together. I am a woman who supports women, but I would never support someone to the detriment of a political institution that impacts Liberia simply because she is a sister. Nor will I disparage someone because they are of another tribe. We consistently, I had a whole press conference in December of 2021 where I called for unification of the party. I remember saying that even if Musa Bedete, Chairman Bedete, claims that he has the law on his side, but he does not have the population, where is the party going? I said likewise to Senator Lawrence, if you and your side claim that you have the Bassa vote and the populace, but you do not have the stamp of approval, the authority from National Election Commission given by the Constitution of Liberia, where are you going? We consistently call for reconciliation. I stood to my detriment. I always say this. When I knew that there wasn't going to be reconciliation, I still stood and said, we're not going to go on either side. We will continue to try to see how we can bring these parties together. I spoke to Senator Lawrence. The thing that I have never told anyone publicly, I would say it today, 1 week before my December 11 endorsement program in Grand Bassa County, I was calling Senator Lawrence. Please, he says, come to this program. I wanted her to come for two reasons. It was good for me and it was good for her. Let Liberia see us united. My mother was in Liberia during the time of my convention. She met with Nyomli. She said, my niece, what happened? Why are you fighting Charlyne? What happened, mom? You will not go support her. Senator Lawrence told my mom, they had conversations, and then she said, I want you to speak to two people, Jacob Smith and Darrell Stiller. This was in December, 6 months ago. Dylan came to the house, met with my mom. My mom said, what happened? Dylan said, Charlyne, not standing with us. We said, but Dylan, how? Dylan said, reconcile. I said, Dylan, I've been doing everything to reconcile. He said, call Musa Belete. Let me, you, and Musa meet. I called Musa. I said, Musa, we have to bring our party together. This is not long ago, 6 months ago. Dylan, we got to bring our party together. Musa, we got to bring our party together. Dylan, Musa, and I met in my house less than 6 months ago with my last attempt to reconcile because I have been trying to do everything. At this point now, I'm running at the district level. I'm trying to get involved in national leadership to ensure the forward movement of our people and the better representation of Grand Bassa. Dylan, Musa came to my house. Those two men argued for almost 2 hours. Passionate, both of them passionate about how Liberty Party was going to move forward. Dylan demanding that we give Nyomli back the political leader title. And let me just be very clear that my big sister, my senator, and I've said it earlier, with all due respect to her, this is not meant as a jab. She is no longer the political leader of Liberty Party. Her tenure ended last October per our constitution, our governing document. EC, there was arguments. I pushed. I said, Musa, you got to do it. Musa even joked with us and said, your Bassa people, you're getting against me. We said, Musa, now a Bassa thing. For Liberty Party to do it. I wanted them to do it because I knew that this would also be an opportunity for us to come together. We agreed that night. We agreed. Musa Belete agreed. He said he will go back to the EC to make Nyomli political leader of Liberty Party again. December 6th, because it was a couple of days before my December 11th program. What we agreed on was, since my old man was in town, the first meeting was me, Dylan, and Musa. When we agreed, the next morning, we were going to call Justice Janet. Because Justice Janet was a friend to my father. He was somebody who had been trying to reconcile the Liberty Party. Then we will call the four of us now, Musa and Dylan, myself, Justice Janet. Then the last day, before I went to Bassa for my program, the Wednesday before I went, we will call my mother, Cllr Brumskin, to sit. The five of us will meet, we'll reconcile Liberty Party, Nyomli one political leader, we give it to her, we move on. The next day, when the three of us were supposed to meet, I called Justice Janet. It was a Monday morning, I believe, or Tuesday. I'm calling him. I can't reach him. He texts me finally. He says, I'm teaching at the law school. I said, Justice, it's urgent. I need you to come to the house. I finally been able to get Musa and Dylan on one page. We're going to reconcile Liberty Party. He said to me, I can be there at 6:45. I said, that's the earliest. He said, yeah. I called Musa. I said, Musa, Justice Janet has agreed. Today at my house, 6:45. I'm texting you. He said, okay. He joked. He said, make sure you got it. The World Cup was playing at the time. Make sure you got a game. I said, Musa, we had a game. I texted Dylan. Dylan, we on. What you wanted, we got it. Justice Janet, myself, and you will meet tonight. Dylan texted me. He said, he can't make it. I said, what do you mean? It's 6:45. It's too.
Right. She's explained the whole thing, that Nyomli tenure expires October last year. So all of this issue going around claiming as political leader of this party and making Musa ability to feed bar and breaking. So Dylan was one of the people behind it for the breaking of that party. You guys listen to that clip, and I guess you both can chime in, and then we can call it a day. So, Carl, you want to start, Mark?
Look, this whole wallabaloo in the Liberty Party, Liberians should be wise enough, to understand that Mr. Cummings got nothing to do with Liberty Party. Rick Moreau. And then Musa has done nothing wrong. The same Dylan, Musa was dialing to Dylan when Musa joined the party newly. The same Nyomli Musa was darling to them when Musa joined the party newly. Because Musa is not somebody they can pull by the nose. You understand? To do what they want when it comes to the direction the party should move. And as I said, Yombly will lie in her bed. It's like, Charlyne is like David. You understand in Liberian politics now. Charlyne is like David, who was just, taken from the back, you understand, and brought to the front. If you watch this movie, if you watch Troy, right? When the Greek, the Samuel, they went against another region. Who they call? They call the smallest man. He was the most powerful, he was the most skillful fighter, Achilles. Charlyne had become the Achilles, and you understand, in Liberian politics today. So you're only going to be lying down in her bed for many years. Trust me. If it was something like someone stole something, Yombly will one day go to church and confess and pray for what she did. But it's not that case. She only lie in her bed that I had the opportunity of being vice president and then continue the project. You understand? Because I believe Mr. Cummings has a vision for Liberia. And no, the only person that tried that was the late President Cllr when he wanted Bento to be the capital city, like what I said on the other show the other time we had, I think, Isaac Jackson, that Abuja is the political capital and Lagos is the economic capital. And Cllr has the vision before, right? And I think Mr. Cummings has a vision for Liberia, because up to now, we don't know, they are not taking power yet, but I think we're going to see similar something manifesting. And then, like, for example, I just want to say this before the show ends. Paul Kagame, right? There's some connection between Mr. Cummings and Kagame, and one time the phrase was used that to Mr. Cummings, referring to Mr. Cummings, you got more human resource in the diaspora that can help you transform your country than what I did in Rwanda. Meaning that the Rwandese, they don't have the human resource capital or capacity that the Liberian has, for example, the Liberian in the diaspora, you understand? So Mr. Cummings' vision, like Charlyne was talking about his vision, right? Yeah. Charlyne has seen the whole book, and anybody that have the opportunity to see the whole book of Mr. Cummings' vision, my man, nobody going to be in the Southeast and say you want to come to Monrovia to come to medical treatment, or to go to Abidjan or to Ghana to come to medical treatment.
Mark, leave for Charm in here so we can leave for.
Well, the matter, the case with Liberty Party, I don't think Mr. Cummings actually had anything to do with that. And the place where a lot of people blame Mr. Cummings is, when he was coming from America one time, Musa Belete arranged a program for him at the Liberty Party headquarters. But these same people that are talking, they forget to know that by document, the founder of the Liberty Party, the late Councillor Brumskin, signed that the Liberty Party is a member of the then CPP that was comprised of 4 parties. So if the 4 parties were one, and one of the political leaders of one of those 4 parties is coming from out, and then that one of the parties they come to our headquarters and have a program, what was the big deal about it? That they said he didn't refuse when nobody said, why did nobody in fact deny? You see, so this nobody woman is the one who have been making all the problems, but he is like the small child and the big brother. The small child will be conquering the big brother here. The big brother not talking about, by the time he touches small, he holla, then they say, wait, didn't they look ball for? So that's it. And the Liberty Party people who were making all that noise, Now they have gotten the correct information, and I hope they will take it in good faith and they can work in the interest of their party.
Yeah.
And I must comment Charlyne that she's been a very good child, because some children, I will not even say some children, I mean that my father established a party and I see different people trying to mess with it, I'll join them. But she's a disciplined person, and I think they should commend her.
Yeah, Brother Paul, you have a few seconds. Any smart person, I thought Dylan was smart, because right in Lofa County, all the candidates that Joseph Barker supported, right in Lofa County, they were all defeated. And you think that Joseph Barker, most especially the tens of thousands or the few 100,000 of citizens that voted this government in power, and the way the citizens hit the ground, that Unity Party walk on, and think that, I thought Dylan was smart, man.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And I want to close on this note. In the same interview on OKFN, Charlyne said something. And what she said, when her mom was in school, the school the mom went to, Omer Barker was registered at that school. And he did help her mom at the age of 16. She's 47. And this guy on closing argument called Kev Hassan said something that caught my attention. Say based on that time, Charlyne mom, she probably her dad would be 72. So the mom may be in the same age range, maybe 68 or probably 70s.
Yeah.
And at the time he was registered, that means in Liberia at that time, you'll not be 20-year-old to be working. You might have been in the 30s.
In Liberia, already in the 30s.
You have been in the 30s to be registered in a school. And he helped Charlyne mom at that time. She's 47. If you subtract 47 from his actual age that he gave, say he's 70 now, then put the mom age into perspective. So Kev Hassan came and said, with his layman elementary, how they call it, calculation, he think this old man will be around about 85 to 90 years old. But Liberians have been misled on this. So it's something that maybe in our next episode, we discuss it and go deep into that.
Brother Paul, I just want to say this. Diving into the age of, Omer Barker, it's not something we should focus on, because Liberians know the Omer he already old with a health condition, you understand? The pacemaker, right? But let us focus on the bread and butter issue in Mr. Cummings' message, because we will be wasting a lot of time discussing Joe Barker age and his health condition. Liberian people already know the man now well. Yeah, that's what I just want to say. But we focus on the bread and butter issue, and then we focus on Mr. Cummings' the CCP vision, how to develop the lympho coming.
Well, no, I'm trying to bring to his attention. What am I seeing this? You see Joe Biden in America today? He was somewhere this weekend, he fell off.
In Air Force One, in a plane.
Yes, it's important that we cannot let, this is the new Liberia that we're going to, and people been making a comparison, say, oh, Joe Biden is over there. Look what the embarrassment that is going. I was in Liberia not long ago. Joseph Barker, who is running, and every time they been batching Mr. Cummings, he lived in rehab. From his house to Rehab Junction is about, young man will take 5 minutes, older person will take 10 minutes walk. But he cannot walk from a house to rehab. And these are the things they are saying. Oh, let the old man go on vacation, we will campaign for him. These are the people that have been. Let me finish. That might get my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
These are I
just wanted to bring the Prince Johnson factor, because Prince Johnson know that old man is not well.
Exactly.
That's why Prince Johnson, Prince Johnson, like Brent thinks Prince Johnson is a fool, right? But Prince Johnson is a master of what we call the art of war strategy.
See?
You understand? Prince Johnson, there are very few militant in Liberia, right? Old school. And those guys, they master the art of war even before, how they call it, the coup plot.
Yeah.
So Prince Johnson still used that mentality, the art of war, to maneuver, you understand, through different, how they call it, protocol and stuff.
Right.
Prince Johnson know that. You know how many times, just to add on what Brother Paul said, I never wanted to talk about it, but now Brother Paul have poked the bear. You know how many times Joseph Boaga say, you know, for all the time Joseph Boaga going to America. You think why Joseph Boaga going to America for? That to check that battery inside.
Yeah, okay. So you see what I'm talking, and this is the man that would a program. So Lifa, I want to chime in there so we can close quick because time against us.
You know, as for me, I do follow war politics, and I know. Let me tell you one thing. Did you see Robert Mugabe? Robert Mugabe fell on many times on stage. He was old. That the people, the military just had to step in and say, "Oh man, move,
Yeah.
go sit down." They didn't. The military, they didn't really do coup in Zimbabwe. It was not a coup. It was just to come and say, "Oh, Papa, we want you to move."
We tired with the embarrassment.
Yes. Okay.
But look what is happening in Cameroon. Poor Biya. Poor Biya barely walk. Look, Poor Biya barely walk. The man do everything on himself. Poor Biya. Now, as we speak in Cameroon, and I don't know what the Cameroon are waiting for.
Yeah. So, but there's a video. I think we still have that video saved here. So next week we play that video.
We'll play it. This is important.
Yeah.
It's important.
We all are getting old. We are not trying to bring down old people, but the thing here is, I've always said this, we always should play football. Right now, if they put you on a football field with 15, 20-year-old beginner,
you can run.
Oh, man, they won't be having ambulance on the side.
Exactly.
So the thing you did before you finish doing it. So what more do you want? You know, the other day we'll continue the discussion.
Yeah, and he had a talk, and the people around him say, "Oh, he must go sit down in the village. We'll run a campaign." This will not mean well for Liberia. Have to say it.
I'm going to find the thing.
Yes.
When Mandela Cooper went to endorse him, he made a statement. He made a speech. Please, I beg you, try to QA for the next edition.
Mandela too. After that lady was shot.
He was talking about young people. He got to speak. Talking about our young people. I was saying that right in my living room. I said, "When the old man know about young people. So who are your type of young people? When you talk about young people." So we will go into our 60s and things. We probably get born out today.
Exactly.
So the people in that 20, who are they are mind pregnant with them. So you almost 90-year-old, you stay fighting for power. You talk about young people. Who are your young people?
You brought up a name that I thought she would have gone to the CCP side, Mandela, right? Because I listened to her. She's almost like Charlyne too when it comes to articulation, right?
Yeah,
she speaks to the issue. She speaks to the issue lengthily. I mean, linguistically, she's on top of it. But going in Baka camp, you know, in politics, you have to calculate. Yeah. And few of these young ones that went in Baka camp, for example, in the 50, 55, like that, they made a terrible mistake. After the tsunami in Bikana, they're sitting there now regretting. Had we known, we shouldn't have gone this direction.
In politics, there are no permanent marriage. They can still come back. Somebody will cross over.
Oh yeah, endorsing somebody doesn't make you. I mean, to be a permanent. How they call it? Person of that place, you can still move.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think we've been there for a while now. So
3 hours exactly.
Yeah. So I will say thanks to all of you. We had a good show. And on Tuesday, we'll be back here. On Tuesday, we'll be on Red Power radio station. And our guest will be Dr. Joy King. And so, Mark, you want to talk to us on this before we close?
Yes, as I said before, I mean, Dr. King, he's one of the architects of Mr. Cummins's, financial policy. So we're going to be only focusing on the financial the financial policies of Mr. Cummins, what he's going to do, for example, to encourage our people to go in the private sector, and how the private sector going to benefit Liberia? What's the importance of the private sector? Because most Liberians just want to work in government, and right in Liberia, we find, foreigners coming, opening stores, opening shops and stuff, and opening, how they call this, different kinds of businesses in the country. So he's going to talk about that and how to encourage people to move back to these counties, how to put investment in these counties, because the resources coming from this county, right? For example, the palm farm in Sino, I just forgetting the name. The people they just get the raw palm oil and take from the country and go to other country, produce the toothpaste, produce the soap, produce the cream, but there's no factory there. The same Firestone mentality. So we're going to be asking Dr. King a lot of questions. What Mr. Cummings going to do to create more jobs and some of these things? Instead of importing these things, we sell these things right on the market to get some kind of it become a win-win situation. So that's what we're going to be focusing on with Dr. King.
Thank you very much. And Lynn, for any parting comment, so we can close.
Well, for me, I just like to thank our viewers for being with us for the night. We sorry that we lost a lot of viewers for the past 2-3 editions of the program, simply because we had problem with Facebook, but it's restored now. So you can come back, you can stick around, share the video, you can go back and watch it if you join us in the middle. And we're going to be here on Tuesday, like Paul said, the next edition on Tuesday. Every Tuesday we are on the radio in Liberia on Red Power FM. And so we cover, according to them, we cover 9 counties. So we're talking to the people in Liberia. And each one of you that is following us, make sure that you can share the video and also share it with your people. Talk to them. Relay the message that we are giving here, that Mr. Cummings is the best president for this country. It is all about the country, not about us, not about you. Okay? So let us all work together and try to promote the message. Thanks a lot and have a good night.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks to our audience for being here. So we'll send you guys, we'll play Charlyne music, and as we close on this, and we'll meet again on Tuesday. Or maybe we'll have our correspondent who shall be on tomorrow. Jose is on 3 days. You'll be interviewing somebody from Grand Bassa County tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock to 3:30 Liberian time. So on this note, I'll say good night to everybody and listen to this beautiful music from Sonny Gadiebo.
On the beat.
Charlyne Brumskin, you mad,